I had a question about rein tension, and the person asked if I would address that as it relates to beginning riders. You know, most everybody is kind of schooled into not touching the horse's mouth, so the fact of getting a hold of a horse kind of sometimes puts fear in you, especially when the horse doesn't respond. And they they said that they were concerned about having a tight bridle rein, you know, thinking that that would cause a horse to rear up, and it can if the horse is in a wrong frame of mind. So my suggestion would be from a beginner standpoint is really go back and through our groundwork videos and watch those and get as comfortable as you can with the groundwork and get your horse going forward easily on the ground. Especially look at that forward motion under pressure video. And then when your horse is agreeing with you on the ground, you're going to have a lot better chance when you get on the back of having clear communication. The question that they wanted me to address was a short rein, how to achieve that without being tight. Well, your horse has got to understand that when he feels pressure in his mouth that it means to come off. This is a really green horse here, and so when I touch his mouth right now, you see it just tucks down there like that. We want that response to be where the horse seeks relief. You've got to have your horse in a state of mind that when he feels pressure in his mouth, it doesn't mean move your feet backwards. We want it to move their feet backward when we want to, but when you're riding forward and you touch a horse's mouth, it should mean soften up, come together. And I hold my reins in front of me so that I'm using my fingers and not my arms. See, I've got that rein short enough to where when I close my fingers, I take contact with the mouth, and when I release my fingers, there's a release point instead of grabbing and pulling. If you're using your arm, you're probably going to be pulling too hard, and your timing's not going to be good. A lot of times people, the reins are too long, and they get their hands way up here like this and nowhere to go, and still we don't have any control over the horse. So, you know, rein management is a big deal. I like to, when I'm riding a green horse in a snaffle bit, and I think if beginners would think about riding their horses as if the horse is green, in other words, the horse doesn't have a lot of understanding either, it's going to be easier for both of you. It's kind of like the 10-2 position on the steering wheel when you're learning to drive. You can drive like this for a while until you get comfortable. Then you can put one hand up on the steering wheel and drive anywhere you want to go. That's the way this bridle rein is. Until you get real comfortable, stay in this position right here. I'm about maybe 18 inches from the horse's mouth. I use my ring finger on the bridle rein as my tool to put a little life in that bridle rein. See, if I put a little bit of side to side motion there, not sawing on his mouth, but just a little bit of moving back and forth, I call that Liberace fingers, that horse is going to soften up and not pull on you. They might not understand it at first, but if you just stay consistent there with that horse will soften up. So we're gonna assume our John Wayne posture. That means that we're sitting straight up in the saddle. We've got our seat bones engaged. That's going to be our forward motion. When we get the horse moving forward, I'm going to assume a little bit wider position with my hands, and I've used those Liberace fingers like that. And as I'm riding forward, this horse is going up into a soft feel. And what that means is the horse is moving his body forward up into the top part of its head, and the nose will be tucked a little bit as the horse understands. So I'll sit there in my John Wayne posture, forward motion. I look off to the right, my right shoulder comes behind my left one. I look around there and I just and I just help the horse to come around. I can feel, when I made that turn to the right there, I could feel my horse on my left leg just a little bit, so that gave me my signal to use that to help that horse come through. Now I'm going to go straight. Now I'm going to look left. Now you can see I've got contact with this horse's mouth, but the horse is not pulling on me and I'm not pulling on the horse. So this is contact, but it doesn't mean that I've got a tight rein. I've got a short rein that's not tight. If I'm having to pull too hard on that bridle rein to get this horse to understand what I want, I probably need to go back and readdress some of this stuff on the ground. Driving is a good place to get a horse softened up in the front end. But, you know, there was also two parts to the question about rein management. They wanted to know, is there a danger of the horse rearing up when I've got too short of a bridle rein? No. If your horse is going forward, moving his back feet, that horse won't rear up. If your horse is kind of locked in reverse and doesn't understand your hands and you pull on them, they might come up. So the most important thing for me first is getting forward motion. Then I'll take contact with the reins, and that will help a lot. Instead of, because if I've got contact with the reins first and I ask for forward motion, the horse should go backwards. That's the only difference between forward and backwards to me, is what I do with my hands first. No hands, leg, that means go forward. Hands first, then leg means go backwards. Okay? But the rule of thumb, if you've got contact in terms of maybe ounces, 2 ounces of pressure, that's enough pull. You don't want to pull too hard in their mouth, but you've got to have a horse softened up so that you've got something that they can put slack in there, so you can be completely out of their mouth when they're holding their nose tucked.